We are back. Is back to sports going to be as bad in this return from vacation as UConn was versus Holy Cross? So for this video, the plan is take a look back at UConn versus Holy Cross, as well as preview Louisville versus UConn that's coming up tomorrow. We'll take a brief look at the WNBA expansion draft, the two things that stuck out to me thus far. But before we start, as always, if you enjoyed the content and like the video, then please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into this. All right, so let's start by touching on the WNBA draft. Two things stuck out to me. One, I just don't know if there's enough talent in the WNBA to be expanding like this. This draft sort of reflects that, and I know it's the case with all expansion drafts, but that sort of stuck out that 7 international players were drafted. The other one that I was curious to see what would happen was who Minnesota would protect and not protect. They left Xander Lassini unprotected, which sort of surprising as she was in the rotation last season. And the one they chose to protect was Diamond Miller, who was the 2nd overall pick the year Aaliyah Boston came out. Now, Diamond Miller, her career has been hampered by injuries. She had knee issues in college. And then last year she had knee issues, which kept her out. Like she had a surgery during the season. But I agree with the call made by Cheryl Reeve. As with Xander Lassini, her game is very similar to Bridget Carlton. So if you're gonna have Bridget Carlton there, it's double up having Xander Lassini on that team. And I think you're better off keeping Diamond Miller, having another roll of the dice, and seeing if she can fulfill her potential, be healthy, and be the player they thought she would be, because that would give them an athletic, dynamic wing player, and that's what Minnesota needs. So I understood it. I was curious to see what Reeve would do, and I understand the choice. I think it's probably a good choice. Lastly, I'll just double up on the expansion. I know expansion's needed for the WNBA. It's just such a painful process. I remember the 80s when the NBA did it. There's no way to expand and not have a drop in the product you put out there. That's the thing that concerns me. The good thing with the Valkyrie is that they have a good fan base. Supposedly 20,000 seats have been sold, or ticket license. I don't know what it is, but that hopefully it goes well. So I wish them nothing but the best. All right, let's get into college basketball now. So UConn versus Holy Cross. My overall takeaway from this was it was a Cayman Island hangover game, and Gino said that Jamel told him that this was in the cards, and it appears that she was right. However, despite this, a few things were able to shine through. One is Sarah Strong is a beast, which is not surprising, but in this game, her three-point shot was falling as she went 4 from 5 from three-point range. If she continues to shoot well from three-point range, she's just illegal, as she can do everything. She's that classic 5-tool player, and I cannot wait to see how she goes over the month of December. Gino issued a bit of caution, saying that all of their great freshman players through history, like Stewie, had a bit of a swan month. Like, freshmen are going to have their ups and downs, but right now she is just the perfect player and delivers in games whatever UConn need. The other takeaway in this game, AZ Fudd did not play well, which isn't really concerning, as reportedly she had a tummy bug. As well, Gino said that she looked tired after the Cayman Island tournament, which is understandable, and he had her sit out like the last 25 minutes of one of the practices, and I'm all for that. Caution is the word with AZ Fudd. Limit her minutes, get her right for Louisville, and just let her gradually build over the season. And you can see this team taking shape. With Caitlin Chin, she's just like a replacement for Nika Mule. As Gino spoke about this in the press conference as well, her three-point shot, he said, she's a better shooter. She's a better shooter now than what he thought he was getting. Like, she's obviously put a lot of work into that over the summer, and her three-point shot was falling as well, as she went 3 for 5 from three-point range, which was 60%. And that's what you need. You can tell, as I mentioned, the team's taking shape, so it'll really be who has the hot hand, Caitlin Chin or KK Arnold, and they'll ride the hot hand, but they'll both get about equal time, and that's really good backup and redundancies in case anybody gets hurt. The other one that's interesting to me is Ice Brady. She was fine. She was plus 28. She got a lot of minutes, 22 minutes. 7 points, and what did she get? 7 rebounds, I think. And the thing with Ice Brady, Gino said that she played all right, and he keeps on building her. But what I see is Morgan Shelley is the backup plan. If Ice Brady cannot get it going on offense and struggles, then the backup plan is playing Morgan at the 4 and at times moving Sarah Strong to the 5, or having that three-way mix of her being the power forward. And using Jana El Alfie as the center. I know El Alfie, she only went for 13 minutes and 2 points, and she's a bit up and down, but I still see it. Long term, she is the key to UConn and where they're going in March. She's just such a big piece in what they do, as their defensive numbers are just so much better when she's on the court. All right, the final thing, let's preview Louisville versus UConn. Now, don't let the record deceive you. Louisville, even though they're 5-3, their 3 losses are to good teams. UCLA, they lost to. They lost to Kentucky on the road in overtime. That was a back and forth game. And then their most recent loss was to Oklahoma. Now, when taking a look at teams, I like to look at the factor of 4s, if you like. That's the efficient field goal shooting percentage, offensive rebound percentage, so that's the amount of available rebounds that you get, your turnover percentage, so that's the amount of possessions you have that end in turnovers, and your free throw rate, how often you get to the free throw line. And then look at the same thing for your opponent, as I think that sort of gives a lot of keys in terms of how a particular team is playing. What sticks out with Louisville, they turn over the ball a little bit high, so 19% of their possessions end in turnovers, but at the same time, they cause a lot of turnovers as well as their opponents. They have caused 24.6% of their opponents' possessions end in turnovers. The other thing that sticks out is their opponents' effective shooting or field goal percentage, which is 47%, which is like 30% in comparison to the rest of the country. The other one is they give up a lot of offensive rebounds, so that's 30% as well. In terms of players, they really have 2 shooters. That would be Roberts, who shoots 37% from three-point range, and Amari Berry, who's shooting 42%. Cochran and Nyla Harris, like, they have mid-range games. They're forwards at 6'2", 6'3". Randolph is rated the number 23 freshman coming in, and they're trying to get her up to speed. They're giving her minutes, but their lineup is actually better when Williams is in the lineup. So I think UConn's game plan is pretty clear. They want to not give up turnovers to Louisville. You know, Captain Obvious as well, cause Louisville into turnovers as well. They have to be aware of Louisville and their 2 shooters, that being Berry and Roberts shooting corner 3s, but as well Cochran and Harris have been around, as Harris is a junior and Cochran a senior. So you have to keep them under control and not let them kill you on the boards, but at the same time, their game is all mid-range. So if UConn plays their best, you would think they would win this game, and you would think they'd win it comfortably, but that's why they throw up the ball. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the game. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Your comments and feedback, it's all welcome. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day.